Well, I'll never look at the white rabbit the same way again. Welcome back to my channel, Wine About Books, where we talk about our favorite morally gray men and all the red flags we love to ignore. Before we go any further, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And with that, let's get into today's episode, guys. Before we get started, let's just address the elephant in the room that yes, I do have a small cold and I know my voice sounds a little different, but I'm on the mend. My daughter's been sick all week and so inevitably I catch whatever she catches. But yeah, we're doing fine. I'm on the mend and the show must go on. So just ignore it. And I'm sorry that my voice sounds a little off today, but we're going to keep going. Today, guys, I wanted to talk about, actually kind of wanted to do an author double feature, if you will. And I picked Tillie Cole because I think it's really cool how she kind of does both sides of the spectrum. Like she does good, contemporary, heartwarming, loving romance, and then she can give you some really fucked up shit and the dark romance edge. And I picked two of my favorite books from hers on both sides. And I wanted to talk a little bit about them and see what you guys think. See if you've read them, see if you would like to read them, and what you thought about them. We're going to start off easy. Let's start off light with one of my favorite books that I will always recommend is 1,000 Boy Kisses. This is more of a contemporary romance, and I just love this book so much. Like this book completely ripped my heart out, stomped on the floor, tore it into 1,000 pieces, and then put me back together again. I remember my husband came home from work. I think it was like 10 o'clock at night. I was sitting up and reading, and I just had like these crocodile tears coming down. And he's like, "What is happening?" And I was like, "It's my book. It's fine. Everything is fine." But yeah, this book will make you cry. And if once you get to know me, I am not the type of person who cries easily. I don't cry very much in movies. I don't cry very much in books. I can probably count on one hand. Not one hand, but I can probably count how many movies I've cried in. But when I cry, I cry. It's like full on crocodile tears. Like it is a blubbering mess. But like I said, it takes a lot to get me. Not that I don't feel the emotions. It's just, I don't know, just to get me to cry, it takes a lot. So it says a lot that I had like full on tears when I was reading this book. But that's not a bad thing. This book is just so damn good. Like you love these characters so much. To give you a little brief synopsis about what this book is about, we're going to go into the beginning a little bit. Actually, what I do want to read for you is the dedication to this book is for believers in true, epic, soul-shattering love. This one's for you. And that's the best way to describe it. It is absolutely soul-shattering in the best of ways and in the worst of ways. But to start off, you start off with Poppy, who's a young girl. She's about 7-ish at the beginning of the book. It's been a few years since I've read this, but her grandmother is dying and she's very close to her grandmother. And her grandmother makes her promise that she will get 1,000 boy kisses from the love of her life. And that was something her grandmother said that she loved about her life was all the kisses she got from, her husband and Poppy's grandfather. She said, just do me a favor and make sure you get at least 1,000 kisses from your true love. And so Poppy wants to make it her mission to get 1,000 boy kisses from her soulmate. And so she creates a jar that says 1,000 boy kisses, hence like the jar on the front. And anytime she's going to get a kiss, she writes down who it was with, where it was, and how she felt. And then she'll put them in that jar. In the meantime, there was a boy named Rune who moves over from Norway with his family because his father gets a job in the U.S. and they just happen to buy a house that's right next to Poppy. And Poppy, as a little girl, just comes up to Rune, hands him a flower, and they just, ever since, instantly become friends. Like, he meets this little girl covered in mud and dirt and just randomly comes up to him, and he's just like, who the hell is this girl? And they're both around the same age, so they just form this cute little bond and this friendship, and they just grow up together, and it's so, so cute. Once they're about, 15, 16, they're in high school together. They obviously are dating. They've been together for a while. They have the cutest, most adorable little relationship. She plays the cello and he's always there to support her. They go to every school function together. They're never not with each other. They're just couple goals, super, super cute, adorable. Anytime he gives her a kiss, she writes it down, puts it in her jar. It's the most adorable thing in the world. It's so cute. It's honestly so cute. It's stupid. And the book is a little cheesy. I will give you fair warning, it is a little cheesy, but sometimes you just need a little cheesiness in your life. You don't read books all the time because you want a dose of reality. You know, you want to be taken out of reality sometimes. And so he and Poppy have this incredible relationship, and it's so cute. I love their relationship. I love Rune so much. I would describe him at the beginning of the book as like, you know, the golden retriever guy. Just, you know, everything you want. And then one day, suddenly, out of the blue, Rune's dad gets transferred back to Norway for his job. And so Rune and Poppy are just absolutely devastated that he has to move away because they've been best friends basically their entire childhood. And, you know, they see each other as each other's soulmates for as young as they are. They just know that they're each other's soulmates. And so they don't know what they're going to do without each other. And so they make a promise to talk every day, never not talk to one another, never not hear from the other person, always let them know how their life is going, and just to always stay in contact. And so the time comes, unfortunately, for Rune to have to move back to Norway. And you can already see he's becoming a little angry, a little angsty because he does not want to do this. He's mad at his family. He's incredibly pissed off. And Poppy is just like, you know, you have to do this. You have to do this. And so he moves off to Norway. And for the first few months, everything is fine. He and Poppy are communicating on a daily basis, emailing, calling, whatever. And then one day it just stops. He suddenly just stops hearing from Poppy. No explanation, no lead up, nothing to give him any indication that this was coming. And so he is just totally caught off guard, and he's devastated. He's like, where did she go? What happened? What did I do? And he keeps calling and emailing and writing her, and he's getting nothing in return. And he eventually finds out that Poppy's family has moved off, and he just has no clue what's happened. And so he finally just accepts that he's never going to hear from her again. And then, as luck would have it, about a year or two later, probably, I think it's about 2 years, Rune's dad gets transferred back to the same job that he had when they were in the US. And so they go back, and they kept the house because they knew they might be coming back. And so they moved back into the house that was right next to Poppy's. And he notices that Poppy's family has moved back in. And at this point, Rune is a 17-year-old, you know, teenage, angsty, angry guy. He just totally went from golden retriever to grumpy. You know, we're getting into grumpy sunshine territory here. And because he's just angry. He lost the love of his life. He doesn't know what happened. And now he's pissed. He never forgave his parents for making him move. And he blames his parents for how him eventually losing Poppy. He's a very angry guy. He ends up going back to the same school that they went to before, that they're in high school together. And he sees Poppy. He sees that she's there. And he notices something is different. And he knows something's wrong. And he tries to figure out what's happening, and he notices she's avoiding him. And he's trying to figure out why she's avoiding him. Why doesn't she want to talk to him? He thought she would be so happy to see him again, and she wants nothing to do with him. Absolutely nothing to do with him. And you have absolutely no clue why. And he's trying to figure out why she wants nothing to do with him. And eventually he finally corners her and gets her to explain what happened. And when you find out the reason, it is just it'll rip your heart out. It is just, oh my God. I cannot tell you how many times I cried in this book. I think I cried at least 3 times throughout this entire book. Like, it's just, oh my God, when you find out the reason, it just rips your heart out. And so, oh my God. And so the rest of the book is about her trying to fill this jar of 1,000 boy kisses. And that's really all I can say. And fuck, the ending of this book just ripped my heart out, but it was so good. It's so heartwarming. Their relationship is fucking phenomenal. Oh my God, it's so cute. I love their relationship so much. I don't even know how to describe it. Rune is perfect. Poppy is just like full of life. And after everything that's happening, she's just the happiest, most beautiful person inside and outside. And you just love her so much, which makes everything just 10 times worse. Like, yeah. And you're going to fall in love with Rune. I will tell you, there is not a lot of spice in this book. It is a very contemporary romance. There's not too much spice. There's a little bit, but it's very, like fade to black type of thing. So, but, oh my God, I love it. I love it. If you just want a romance book, read it. It's like I said, it's kind of cheesy, but it's beautifully written. There's a playlist to go along with it. And I loved it. I listen to those songs and I think of the scenes in this book, and it makes me cry. Like, this book is just so good, and it just gives you all the feels, all the emotions, and it will rip your heart apart and then put you back together. So if that's something you like, pick it up and try it. I think Tillie Cole did a phenomenal job with this book, and which is how I ended up exploring more of her books, which leads us to our next one. We're going to segue into Sick Fucks and go into the complete other side of the spectrum here. This is part of her dark romance collection, and this book, this is a fun one. I really liked it. If you are someone who likes like fairy tale retellings or like fairy tale fan fictions or things based off that, you will actually really like this book. It is kind of based off Alice in Wonderland. And I've read Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass when I was younger, and it is a fever dream. And I could tell you this like takes that fever dream to the infinite level. It's like, into the dark. I'll never look at the White Rabbit the same way again. But this book, however, is about a girl named Ellis, and she meets a guy named Heathen, and they could not be more polar opposites to each other. Ellis is just this bright, happy, full of life girl, kind of similar to Poppy. Heathen, on the other hand, is broody, angsty, just hates everything. And, it's very kind of grumpy sunshine. She makes him see a new side of life, and he just loves her energy and her lust for life. And they actually become really good friends and form a relationship. And he shows her, he gets her out of her shell, and she makes him see things in a new way. And it's very cute. I see their relationship develop, and it's really sweet. Until there is one day where they are ripped apart. And I mean forcibly ripped apart. And Ellis is thrust into this situation that she has no control over, and Heathen is taken from her, and unfortunately, because of circumstances that happen, is thrown into jail. And I can't really tell you why, but that would be a spoiler. But while he's in jail, he knows that Poppy is going through something that is just unspeakable, and there's nothing he can do about it, and there's nothing she can do about it. She can't escape. And while he's in prison, these two guys, they're prison mates with him. They kind of take him under his wing and mentor him, essentially. And he learns the ways of these mastermind criminals, essentially. And he eventually does get out of prison and goes to find Ellis. And when he finds her, after everything she's been through, she is just a shell of her former self. She is not the girl he remembers. She is not the girl he knew. And he is so angry at himself for what she went through, because he feels like he couldn't protect her. And Ellis gone mad, essentially. And he then wants to use his newfound skills that he learned in prison to help her find revenge. And because she is totally unhinged at this point, she goes along with it. And he kind of plays into this fantasy she's always had of Alice in Wonderland. And so they end up calling each other Dottie and the Rabbit. And it's kind of like this mix of Bonnie and Clyde and Alice in Wonderland and Alice and the Rabbit. It's really cool how like Tillie kind of integrated all this, but it's also like it's very much a fever dream, and it does kind of go a little into mental illness. So trigger warning if that's a trigger for you. There's a lot of knife play, but yeah, I don't think I'll be able to see the White Rabbit again in the same light. It's very spicy. It's very spicy. It is very graphic. It's fair warning. It is very graphic in the violence. It's graphic in the spice, but we do want that. But it is very graphic in the violence, but the violence is justified, if that makes any sense. Like if you read it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I loved the play on Alice in Wonderland in this entire book. I just think it was so clever. It's so fun. And if you're like someone who likes the darker side of fairy tales, you'll really like it. Yeah, it's essentially just Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass in modern day on steroids. It's the best way to put it. Yeah, Sick Fucks. It's really all I can say about that, because you can't say too much about it because it'll be a spoiler, but it's a great dark romance. It's a great revenge story. There's some great spice in this, especially some kinky spice. So yeah, check it out. Tell me what you think. Let me know. Did you like 1,000 Boy Kisses? Did you like Sick Fucks? Are you going to read them, or have you read them? Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any other books you'd like me to read or review. And with that, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.